Hi everyone. In this video we're going to be making a recipe for Elotes chicken, and this is a crock pot recipe, so it's something that you can put on in the morning and then it'll be ready for you in the evening. You can definitely use the browning method that we used for the peppers and onions, but you don't have to do that if you just want to dump it in the morning and go. It's an awesome recipe. The reason that I came up with this recipe was a couple of years ago they had the things that were going viral for the Elotes dip, which was like corn and cream cheese and some things like that. But a lot of times those things are great if you're having a party, but it's not something that you can use in everyday life. So this is something that you can use for any weeknight dinner if you're trying to not think too much about it. This is amazing over rice, and so here we go. Let's make this recipe. So this recipe is not exact, but your ingredients are going to be 3 pounds of chicken, 2 pounds of frozen corn, 1 28-ounce can of tomatoes, diced is probably going to work best for this one, 1 12-ounce bag of frozen peppers and onions, and you can use fresh, but the frozen ones work great and you don't have to chop, 2 8-ounce blocks of cream cheese, and then some tahini and some salt and pepper. And you can use whatever seasonings you'd like in this, but the tahini is really, really good. So the first thing that you're going to do is add some olive oil to a pan and saute those onions and peppers until they're brown. And like I mentioned, you can use fresh ones, but the frozen ones are a great time saver if you don't have time to be sitting in your kitchen and chopping. And also if you just don't have the skill to do that, it's a great shortcut. Now this is not a required step, but a little browning here is going to add some flavor that's missing in a lot of crock pot meals. But if you don't have time for this and you're just doing this in the morning before you get to work, just dump the frozen ones in and you'll be just fine. So once you have got those peppers and onions browned up, you're going to set those to the side and then just grab a large crock pot. So the first thing we're going to do is put those canned tomatoes in the bottom, and that's just going to prevent things from sticking a little bit because there's a good amount of water in there. And then you're going to slide your chicken in on top of the canned tomatoes. Then we're going to add our frozen corn in on top of those chicken breasts. And you can use chicken thighs or anything like that. I just prefer chicken breasts because there's a little less fat in there. And then you're going to add your brown peppers and onions on top of there. If they're frozen, that's just fine as well. Then you're going to throw your 2 blocks of cream cheese on top and a good amount of salt and pepper. And as you can see, this comes together super, super fast. This is going to be a really short video for you guys. And this is something you could very easily do before work in the morning. Then you're just going to add a whole bunch of tahini. And tahini is a seasoning made of chili and lime. There's not much else in there except for a little bit to keep it from sticking together. But it adds a lot of really good flavor and tastes amazing in this dish. This dish is based on elotes, which is the roasted corn that you put tahini on. And you also put fajita cheese on there, which we're going to put on there when we serve this as well. So then we're going to turn our crock pot on there for about 6 hours. And then obviously if you're doing this while you're at work, you just leave it on until you get home. After about 3 hours, if you can, you're going to stir it to incorporate that cream cheese and get it worked in there. But if you're not at home to do that, it's not a big deal. It'll work in just fine later on. So then to serve this, you're going to stir this one last time and then use your spoon to break up your chicken chunks so that it's a little bit easier to eat. At this point, your chicken should be tender enough that it should break up very, very easily. I'm using one of my harder spoons. And then you're going to serve it over rice. If you can make your rice with this tomato bouillon, I highly recommend it. I could not find this at any of the stores that I normally shop at this time, but it makes the rice a little red and it gives it a lot of extra flavor. I did make the rice with some chicken bouillon, and then you're just going to ladle this over top of it. Make sure you get some of the good juice in there, and then sprinkle it with a little more tahini and some fajita cheese. This is a great place where people can customize a little bit, that if people don't want it as spicy, they don't have to have as much more tahini, and it ends up being such a good dinner. Very, very comforting, very, very fresh, tastes amazing, and this is your final product. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Check it out and let us know in the comments if you decide to try this meal.